Hey everyone, this is Herc, and today I am going to be reviewing Solo Leveling Arise. I'm doing this review now, even though I could have done it like 2 weeks earlier, but I'm doing it now because tomorrow is going to be the official global release of Solo Leveling, and I'm just here to give my thoughts about me playing a whole month of early access. So let's get started. I'm going to be talking about the story first, so let's head to the story section. So there are currently 15 chapters in the early access. However, I believe 2 more chapters are going to be added in the global release. The main point I want to be talking about the story is Netmarble did a very good job in retelling the story. It's one-to-one, and I believe not a lot of details are like missed out. So like these chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, etc. These are all from Jinwoo's perspective. So these are a little bit shortened up, while if you play like these side chapters, these are from the perspective of the side characters or like the supporting characters, which is, in my opinion, a brilliant idea. So you don't have to like play through the whole story where you're forced to like look at the other character's perspective, or like it's long to do, A very good option that they have done. To also add for this story, each section gives 4 pulls into the standard banner. So if you 100% clear all of these, you get 2 pulls. If you clear the battles with these battle trophies, or what they call battle missions, you get another 2. So that's 4 pulls. How much does that calculate when you complete the whole thing? 112 standard pulls, and that is a lot compared to some like gacha games that only give just the currency. And I also want to note that these side chapters do require you to have the character. However, let me just add, you don't necessarily need to have the character, as if you don't have the character, they will have a pre-built character. Let's say let's click on this, and this says this story requires Kim Chul, and when you play, you will automatically have Kim Chul in your team. And before, or like the release of the early access, if you didn't have the character, they would give you a pre-built character. However, if you did have it, your character would be level 1, and your character wouldn't be very good. If we're talking about like before I started like getting all these level 64, you would have very low power, and it'll be nearly impossible to like complete these side chapters. But now they fixed that, and the community has stressed about this. So now Netmarble has added the option of pre-built. The gate section, or like the other extra stuff, I'm not going to talk too much about the gate system. This will actually be in what I dislike about it, but the only thing that I really like, so you can gate mine right when you finish a gate, and basically this gives you like this currency, which is low tier mana crystals, and these are used for the exchange shop. If you go and look here, you can basically exchange like materials to enhance like artifacts, your weapon, to craft things with the mana crystal, to buy more like day keys, to upgrade your characters and limit break weapons. It's a lot of good stuff, but that's not really the main topic that I'm really interested in talking about. But it's more, so let's collect these. It's the free currency that you get. So the higher the gate rank, the more, like, I believe the more essence you'll get. So these are the reason why gate mining is so good, just because you get these free essence, like basically free currency to like pull for units. But don't get your hopes up high, because these are very minimal, but you can pretty much get these daily. So you'll rack up you pretty much rack up a lot of like currency over time. Another thing, challenges, which grant you like another 120 free pulls. So if you complete all of these, that's 120 pulls. You get more currency, which I believe is like 700, 1,000, somewhere there. But in chapter 9 and 12, you get 2 free SSR weapons, and this weapon in particular is very good with the weapons that we have now. So I would do these on release, or try to complete it. I'll come back to these in a bit, but let's let's go into like the before we begin with the PvP aspect of the game. Now it's not like PvP where you actually fight players, but you're more competing with players. Let's go to Battle of Time. I can't access the season right now because the very first season just closed, but they're basically kind of the same thing. You're basically just competing. Whoever clears fast will be at the top, basically. And these are solo rewards, and these solo rewards are very good, and you should try to get all of these. But again, this is just something that you'll clear over time, and if you can't clear it, well, that's okay. You should be able to clear it. I don't remember if there's a time limit, but just clearing it in general will give you rewards. So just clearing this, you'll get these rewards, then vice versa. If you clear tier 5, you'll get these rewards for free. You don't have to like compete in the rankings, you just get them for clearing. And that's the best part of Battle of Time, because you can get rewards for clearing, achievement rewards if you can clear fast enough, but also you can also get rewards if you're like in the first top 3. You get rewards for top 10, top 100, top 1000, and so forth. So it's basically a whole competition. It's basically the same thing as like the seasonal Battle of Time, where it's basically boss / stage rush. So, and with the seasonal, they actually have a shop, which I can't show because the season's out right now. So, but also I also forgot to mention, they also give free, or not free, but they give 5 pulls for limited and standard. So save up your currencies for those, and they also give like really good materials, but unfortunately I can't show because they removed the shop for it. But I think that's all for what I think it's good in Solo Leveling Arise. But let's talk about the negatives. Actually, I forgot about one thing. The combat for solo leveling. I almost forgot to include the combat part of the game, but in my opinion, combat is very, very fluid. So we're doing battle trials, and this is the Sung Jin Woo section. So you only control Sung Jin Woo, and so he consists of 2 skills that you can customize. So this is skill 1 and this is skill 2 that you can customize, by the way. Oops. Then you have weapon skills, which you can equip your first weapon and your second weapon. Then you have your QT skill, which you can see on the bottom right. If you dodge perfectly, okay, that wasn't perfect dodge. If you perfect dodge, you get a QT prompt, and when you press it, you do Shadow Step, and it slows down, which allows you to do DPS. But it's not only that. You can also summon your hunters or teammates to give you like buffs or like debuffs to do damage. So it's like a whole cycle of things. You can do that. So you can basically just call them to do damage and things like that. Very fluid, in my opinion. So it's very fast. Similar to the dodge mechanic is similar to PGR, but that's kind of the extent, you know, to like QTE skills and stuff like that. But it's just the dodge mechanic. But overall, that's just kind of it. If you have read the novel, you can summon your shadows as well. So, but these are limited uses, and you have to get shadows by doing other forms of content. So this is a limited currency, and you should be careful when using shadows. But that's kind of Sung Jin Woo's like perspective of battle. However, hunter gameplay is a lot different. So that's like your characters that you pull. Now, hunter gameplay is a little bit more different, but it's pretty much similar. You know, it's basically the similar gameplay, but how you play hunters is a little more different. So when you dodge, you can QTE a character skill. So when you do that, you activate their QTE skill, and it could be different things. It could give you buffs, but I think most of it is mostly damage. But these are just one of the ways to like swap hunters. So you're not just playing Sun Jinwoo, you're actually playing like other characters as well. But that's not the only way to like QTE skill. And I also forgot to mention about Sun Jinwoo's side. So you see my auto attack, which is the bottom right. It's where there's the dual swords basically, and you know how there is a another circle that's a half circle right now. When you use basic attacks, it charges up to make a core attack, and when you use a core attack, you can use other characters' QTE skills. So that's another way to do QTE, but that's just the basic gameplay. But what can you do with it is you could avoid attacks. So let's say you're doing this attack. Okay, that's messed up a little bit there. You can avoid attacks because you're invulnerable. However, you could do this. You could Q a skill and you can swap while they're still doing it mid-skill. And they can get interrupted, but it's really useful if you need to do like let me swap to Choi really quick to give you a good example. So if you do this, you use his Q skill and you swap, and they'll continuously use their skill. So it's a very like, you don't have to wait until the animation finishes. You can basically use a skill. The animation doesn't have to finish and they'll still use the skill. But it only works on like some character, or it will work on all characters, but of course, like, you know, you can, it's kind of a pick and choose. Whatever characters you're using will have like, they'll stay on the field longer just to use their skills. So some animation, you should do it for some animations that take longer and stuff like that. But I think, in my opinion, the combat's very good. But I think that's all the goods I have for now. Let's talk about the bads. If we go back to gates, so when you're looking at this part of like the section of the game, gates come in many different ranks. As you can see, I have like 4 A ranks, which is really nice. I have a B rank and a D rank. Now D rank nets you like the lowest rewards, but it's the same thing as kind of like the E rank. They net you the worst rewards. But when you get to A ranks, they give you like more gold, more EXP. And I think the rewards that you get is increased in like rarity and also like how much you get. And there's 4 different types of like gates. There's the regular blue gates, that's dungeon break purple gates, and the red gates that will sometimes pop up if you refresh, if you press the rescan, or if you do like gates, it will usually the red gates will pop up. And the last one, the yellow gate, which is the gold gate, where if you need gold, you do the gold gates. But you basically complete these, then you go to gate mining and basically just mine the gate to get like these currencies and the blue crystals. But the bad thing is, so if I were to rescan, oh wow, I got some pretty good ones. S ranks, you always want to go for S ranks, and occasionally the A rank if you're kind of impatient, which I am kind of impatient. But you never want to do like D, C, or B. There have always been like cases where when you refresh, you'll get like really low ball, like D, C, B ranks, or like even E ranks, and you never want to do those. It's kind of an awkward system. You could be spending like 20 minutes not getting 20-30 minutes not getting any good ranked gates, and it would be miserable because again, it's kind of a time consuming game. And of course you can always rescan, but as a free to play, you'll probably want to save as much currency as you can. But it's pretty much all that is to gates. that I have complaints about. But let's go to like the artifact system. Now, in the very beginning of early access, I don't quite remember, but I believe if you wanted to swap artifacts, you had to pay gold. So let's take a fact plus this plus 15 chess piece. Let's say I wanted to change to this chess piece, right? I have to pay gold. And that's the absurd thing about it. Back then, during the very early days of early access, you had to pay gold to swap an artifact. And a lot of people have complained, and they have fixed this a little bit, and in a way that if you're plus 10, you're okay. So let's swap this back. Let's enhance this to like plus 11. So it's plus 11. Now that it's plus 11, you have to swap. It's not a lot of gold. And I know people are like, oh, but you have to pay gold to swap. Yeah, that's kind of the reality. This is like the first time I'm seeing this from an artifact system. Kind of sucks, but I guess it's just what it is now. In the early game, it's pretty rough because the only way you can get gold is by doing gates, and you accumulate activity funds, which takes a whole day. So there is no other way to like get gold unless you whale or like buy gold from like the shop. But my point is, it used to be really bad. Like if you wanted to swap like plus 0 or nothing, you had to pay to swap the artifacts. And I think that's how it was in the very early days of artifacts. I'm not sure if it had to be enhanced or not. I'm pretty sure it had to be enhanced to swap it. But yeah, it was pretty bad. Encore missions and instant dungeons. Now these are pretty notorious for really awful like artifact drops. So if you go to tier 1, it's kind of like your standard, oh, you're just going to get blue tier, right? The only problem is, you see all of these gloves? This is the drop pool. There's no like, oh, you can only get these 2 artifacts and a certain like domain or boss. But no, they made it so you have to RNG your relic drops, and whatever you get is what you get, and you only get like basically 6 tries, but it's 3 because you can pretty much maximize like 2 times in a row. So that's what you should be doing. But when you get to the higher tiers, you get purple rarity, then you get gold rarity, and you know what that means. You have to fight the drop pool with the blue, the purple, and the gold. That's the worst part. And you have to deal with bad substats as well if you don't get any good substats. That's the worst part of encore and instance drops. You cannot select like, oh, let's say for example, I just want these 2 gloves and these 2 boots. No, you have to fight for, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of these gloves and 8 of these boots. But that's not all. When you get to higher tier, then you have to fight for 16 of these boots and 16 of these gloves in both rarities. Then when you get to like tier 5, that's when gold starts to appear. Then you have to fight about 24 of these boots and 24 of these gloves. Obviously, the higher your tier, the better the chance of getting like gold and purple tier, especially gold, like gold tier. But you will sometimes get the occasional blue, so it's not as bad. It can be pretty miserable if you don't get like the artifacts that you want. Another thing I want to talk about is the certain growth events. So these are growth events that come every 4 days. So for this one example, you have to level up your weapons. So you can level up like your main character's weapons or your hunter weapons. But here's the issue. These events are not meant for free to place because of how much gold you're sinking. So if we click on this and we go to our weapons, this is level 73, so obviously it's going to cost a lot more. So already 2 levels is like 45k, but if we would go to like level 1, oh, you may think, oh, it's not that bad, but it does add up. It will add up. So let me find a weapon. So if I were to do this, this is 20 gold, and I'm just gonna sink my gold just to show you guys. Now I just lost 20 gold and I just got 10 points, but this is only for SR or rare weapons. SR weapons or super rare weapons will give you more points, and I only got 10 points. It's pretty bad. I will say you can do this when you're strong enough as someone, since I'm playing free to play right now. It's easy for like people who spend money, because you can just pull, spend money, get more gold, then you can just hit all of these just like that. However, for us, since we have limited pulls, it's almost, I wouldn't say impossible, but it's definitely a very huge money sink, because then you have to like save gold, you have to save advances, so like dupes, and you're not even guaranteed a SR dupe too, so you're only guaranteed a lot of the rare dupes, and it could be a pain in the ass just to like complete this event. And there's not just weapon growth events, there's character growths, so like leveling up your characters, giving them dupes as well, because characters have dupes. Hunters, so advancement that gives them like more buffs or make the character better basically, and that's a pain. And these characters are even harder to get, they're even more scarce. And I believe there is another one. Let me look. Oh yeah, there's artifact groups, which it's not too bad because you can get artifacts like that, but you're losing currency and you're losing materials to enhance your artifacts, and that goes the same way with weapons. I forgot to include like the weapon, like these, the weapon enhancement, and it goes the same thing with like artifacts as well. It takes these currents or these materials, and when you're trying to get a like plus 15, it takes these materials now, so these are even more scarce because you have to either craft them or obtain them from gates. So it's pretty, it sucks. Last thing, or 2 last things, actually just one last thing. So for everyone who's starting out, you will get like a 4-day trial of premium benefits, and it's not necessarily like all of these, but it's more the additional support. This isn't really like a big issue for me because I just brain dead, just grind it out. But if you want to do like times 3 or times 4 times of like doing like a encore or instance, you need to have premium buffs to like clear these, but it doesn't really bother me that much. That's what paying for premium. Also, for those who didn't play early access, you cannot get this guy until he gets a rerun, or unless they put him in normal banner, which I think they will, but I'm pretty sure he's going to be limited. So for those who didn't play, you're going to miss out the best raw damage DPS, which is Choi, if you didn't play the early access. But he's already gone, so, but it's okay, you will get your girl. So I think that's it. I think that I've hit most of the topics that I wanted to talk about. It's kind of my review of solo leveling. I do think this is a very good game in a casual point of view. I guess the only thing I didn't talk about is the ranking system. Just this particular like battle missions or battle trophies. The higher your trophies, each week you get like a set amount of like free premium currencies or free currencies to pull, which is really neat. Other than that, that's kind of all I wanted to talk about. All right, before I get sidetracked, from a casual standpoint, I believe that this game is very good. Like, if you're not trying to push, you're just playing this casually, you're not really going to be missing much. But if you're trying to push and like try to compete with like the whales and stuff, good luck, because it's definitely going to be hard and it's not easy. But again, everything takes time. Yep, that'll be all. So thank you guys for watching. I think I'll be making another video pretty soon, probably released right after this one. So thank you guys, take care.